Welcome everyone, this is Gwydion. Today I'm going to be starting a one-shot of A Tale of Ink and Flies, and this is a scenario for the Exorcist Codex. This is a TTRPG. It was kickstarted a little while back. I'm actually getting a deluxe version that I purchased that will be delivered to me this week. But for now I have the PDFs, and I did print one of the core rulebooks in a binder so I could have that as well. And this is not intended to be a solo game. There's no solo rules for this yet. So I'm just going to kind of wing this, but I wanted to play it. I really love this, the background, the scenarios, and it uses the basic role-playing system similar to what Call of Cthulhu does. And it just, the whole setting and vibe really spoke to me, so I want to play it. But don't look at this as a, how-to video. I'm sure I will screw up rules. I'll be bending some rules given I'm doing this solo. And I'm going to try to do this maybe in some bite-sized chunks. I'll try to pause when I need to look something up rather than fumble around on screen. So we'll just see how it goes. So I hope you enjoy it. So with that, I'll be using PUM Companion, another wonderful solo application by Jensen Bars. I would encourage you to check this out as well if you're a solo player. So let's dive in. So we're going to start in the investigation phase, and I'll start by picking my character. So I've already decided on what character I want to be, so we'll look at our PCs, but I have all of the pre-gens in here. You can go to their Discord site and get all of these downloaded for free as well. But I will be the church licensed exorcist, and I already named him Samuel Erickson. So I'm going to do a note in the journal here just so I don't forget my name, Samuel Erickson, church licensed exorcist. All right. So that's an important part. The other thing I need to determine is where in the timeline of events does this start? So we're going to just roll and find that out randomly, because why not? So local dispatch. So the player characters, so that's me, are already in the city. Upon learning of the incident, Father Albert contacts them directly or through a nearby order liaison. Okay, so because that is happening, because it's close, it could be that it's happening the same evening or the next few days. So let's set the stage. We're gonna roll on that as well. So we'll determine how often, and this will give us a little bit of spoiling. Okay, that's good. The same evening, that kind of makes sense. So before I read through this, because this already kind of presupposes you know a little bit about this scenario, I'm going to look at my NPC, the father who's going to be contacting us, and we're going to start there. So give you just a bit of background on Father Albert Northen, and then we'll get into a bit of the scenario background as I know it. So he's a lifelong priest and seasoned agent of the Templars of Dawn. He's spent decades confronting demonic threats and performing exorcisms. He's now nearing retirement, and unfortunately, given he struggles with chronic back pain and he's recovering from a broken ankle, he can't really do exorcisms anymore, so he's reached out to me. I'm 35. I've been doing this a bit, but I'm certainly younger than him. And he has contacted us to let us know about an issue with a possession case. So I'll show you that. So this is AI generated. I didn't have another great way to find him, so I did put the prompts into AI, but I kind of like that image. I thought that was pretty cool. So let's dive into a bit of the background. So we'll just kind of talk through this a bit, and I might do a audio note here to remind myself. So yeah, let's start there. So thank you for coming here. I wish I could handle this issue myself, but unfortunately, as you can see, my exorcism days are a bit behind me now. But the reason for my call is Dr. Louis Bourgeois. He's at 1095 Eldritch Lane, and he is a demonologist, and he studies all types of objects, and he acquires them from all over the world, all over the country. and some of them are very questionable. And he tends to do things very carefully. He'll chain himself to his office so he can't get out should he trigger any type of possession. And in this case, he actually has, it appears, unfortunately, encountered a demon possession. And based on the background from his assistant Daniel, it appears to me that it's either a wild demon or a common demon. And as you know, you have to be very careful. You certainly would not want to perform a ritual for one of the demon types without knowing what demon you're facing. So you'll have to investigate further. But at the moment, and thank you for coming so quickly, but at the moment, Dr. Lewis is still in his office. He is restrained. He's restrained from a shackle on his neck inside his office. But Daniel, his assistant, informed me that he told Dr. Bourgeois that he would go find the key for him and come back. But Daniel can tell he's possessed, so he is not going to come back. And he in turn contacted me to determine if I could help. So unfortunately, for the demon's own amusement, he has taken a jagged dagger, one of the collectible items that Dr. Bourgeois owns, and he has cut off, he's sliced off, and not in a clean way, the tip of his own nose. And he did this. Daniel happened to go in while he was doing this, and it was a very jagged cut. The tip of his nose fell on the floor as he was grinning maniacally. And as he did turn around, when Daniel came in, he was holding this jagged dagger, presumably ready to use it against anyone who came in. So if you could investigate and determine the type of demon, hopefully you could have some success in getting Dr. Bourgeois back. So, I should have done that as Dr. Bourgeois, but that's okay. How about we just insert a note, and I'll write a note. This was from Father Albert Northen. All right, so I have the background. I know that he is. I'm still the same evening, so he's still walking around. Fortunately, things haven't progressed too far. So what I need to do next, it's an important part of the game, is I need to set the demon dice board up. So we will do that, and depending on when you come in is how you'll set the demon dice board. So let's go back to the overview. We'll go to locations. I set this up as a location. I wasn't sure how else to set it. We're going to move the plot notes for the moment down, and we'll get this a little bit tighter. So briefly, the way this works is it's going to track the opponent's progress in the scenario. So in this case, our demon. And there are going to be 3 types of die here. One for the host, one for any errors incurred as we're trying to perform the correct ritual, and one just for chaos. There's a chaotic factor to this. These can change for different scenarios, but for us, this is how we start. And because it's the same evening, we start with a host at die at 2. We start with the error die at 1 and the chaos die at 1. And if these get all to 6, it's basically a nice like tension mechanic that will tell you when things are really getting out of hand and when you really need to not waste any more time. So at this point, if you do get a 6, you can see if no dice show 6, then there's really no effect. It's just kind of amping up the tension. But each time a die is changed to 6, we'll have to roll. And there will be times that I will have to roll on a chaos die, and that's just a straight up D6. And if I roll it, that will stay at 6, and this will not change again. So I think these 2 will change based on the host itself. And I think I just need to determine when I think the dice should change. So in this case, the host, because the host has already mutilated himself, he is changing to 2. So I think I have the ability to change that whenever I want. So we are going to, yeah, we're going to go in now. We'll leave that the way it is. We'll come back to it as needed. And we will, I will make my way toward the location, and maybe I'll try, since Daniel is still around, I might try to have a conversation with Daniel. Let's find him. And let's say maybe I'll start with, is Daniel, yeah, is how willing is Daniel willing to talk to us? Let's do kind of a let's do, I guess, a deterministic oracle. Let's see, is Daniel willing? How is he doing right now? Is he willing to talk to us? Yes. Okay. So we come in and we we meet Daniel, and he certainly looks shaken, and he welcomes us, but he looks, very very scared. And we ask him, hey Daniel, can you tell us a bit about what happened? What did you see? How did you realize that Dr. Bourgeois was in fact possessed? Get this ready. Here we go. Well, thank you for coming. And I might just do this as a text note. Thank you for coming, but the reason I called Father is, Dr. Lewis would always tell me that if I'm ever compromised, it'll be too late to act after. So please make sure to keep the lock shackled, and please don't let me out, no matter what I will say. And he thought that was the most effective precaution. And he said, earlier today, I heard strange noises, really loud noises, coming from Dr. Bourgeois' office. And I looked in, and through the door, I peeked in and I froze. Dr. Bourgeois stood, his pants around his ankles, holding a jagged dagger. And it looked to me like he was going to pierce himself, cut himself. And the moment he saw me, he dropped the blade, and he stumbled forward. And then, as he was tripping over his pants dangling around his ankles, he lurched towards me. The chain snapped tight, slamming him backward, and he fell down, fortunately, a few yards from me. But after a few seconds, he paused, lifted his head up, and it looked like Dr. Bourgeois. His eyes were pleading, tears in his eyes. He said, "Please, Daniel, help me. I'm back. It's over. Unlock this. We're safe now." But Daniel didn't move. He remembered clearly what Dr. Lewis would say. He said, if I ever seem to be possessed or have lost my mind, please send for Father Norton. So that's what I did. I told him that I would search for Dr. or Father Norton, and I would find him. I'd get the key, or I'm sorry, I messed that up, but I'll get the key, just wait. And instead, I turned and found you. And I did hear, after I left, some squishing, and it sounded like something cutting into flesh. And I pried open the door just a bit, just a teeny bit, and I saw that he had cut off the tip of his nose while looking into a mirror. So I'd say to Daniel, "Wow, that's is there anything else you found? Did you see anything? Did you notice anything else that might help us before we take a peek in and try to observe Doctor Bourgeois?" So we'll see. Let's see what Daniel might have otherwise observed, and maybe we'll do a subjective. I'm not sure exactly how that'll come up, but let's see. Do a subjective. Yes, sometimes. So maybe, he saw something, and let's see what the options are. That one is, let's see, trying to see what he might have seen, because some of these clues I certainly wouldn't have known. Um, yeah, I'm going to say that Daniel saw that he was looking at some type of old scroll on his desk, but he doesn't know if it's related. And unfortunately, I think where Dr. Bourgeois is, it might be challenging to get to it. But he did say there's a scroll on the desk that he's wondering if it has any type of of if it's anything related to what Dr. Bourgeois is seeing or is experiencing. Jeez. All right. So we are going to look at the location. So let's go back to the location and we're going to look at Dr. Bourgeois' office. So I'm going to make this a bit bigger now too. And so 5. So as we come down to the stairs, it looks like these are maybe stairs outside to the office, and maybe you come down from a street level and you come in here. It looks like there's a doorway here where, if I look at these, just put this on somewhere. We'll just make this smaller. But yeah, like maybe this is where Daniel was and where he had mentioned to us he was right outside the door. So we haven't really seen anything in here. So I think what we'll do is maybe I'll take a peek. I'll try to crack the door and see if I can crack the door without him noticing. So what about, am I noticed when we open the door first off? Do we notice anything? I could do a roll for this, but I think for now I'm going to do a just yeah. Are we noticed? Weak, yes. So maybe maybe Doctor Bourgeois kind of hears something, but he doesn't necessarily see us, but he hears something. So his shackles are up a little bit. So let's see, what might we see when we open. We could see a lot of things as we're peeking in, but I might do a descriptive. Let's see if I can do maybe an oracle that would help me see what might I find when I'm first peeking in. Yeah, I'm going to say notice, perceive. Why don't we do that? Something in the air or a smell, and description looks dry or rough. So something in the air, or a smell. Okay, so I'm going to say what I smell is I have that copperish smell of blood. So he has mutilated himself. At least he's cut off a fair bit of the tip of his nose. So I see and I smell that. And as far as the description, I'd say I have a rough, just a very quick, rough view of the scroll on the table. So that scroll, I wonder if I can find an icon here. I'd love to find like a book or a scroll here, and maybe I can make that red. Got to be something. Yeah, how about this? Just a book. Love to find a scroll. There's probably is a scroll in here. If I can't find one, I'm just going to use the book. I'm probably scrolling, pun intended, right past it. But let's just do this locked book that I saw. That's close enough. So we're going to do that. And we're going to say that will symbolize the scroll. So I see it, but obviously, given the chain here, I'm not going to be able to get to it without confronting him in some way. So the first thing we're going to do as we see him, and I see his eyes, and I see him with this jagged dagger in his hand, I am going to roll a d6. This will be my wild d6. So let's roll that. And that is a 3. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and change. I think it's just a wild chaos die. So for now, I'm going to change this, and just for grins, I'm going to change that to a 3. No real impact until that's a 6, but why not? We'll put that there. So he is going to look at me, and this is going to certainly trigger some type of event as I come in, because now that I've seen just a little glimpse in the room, and I can tell he kind of senses me there. I'm going to come into the room. I'm going to try to stay out of his way, and I might do a token for me. Maybe I can do my own token. We'll do that, and we'll make that just a little bit bigger. And for now, I'll put him like right there coming into the room, and we are going to put the token in for our doctor, who's kind of at the end of this rope here. And I think we're going to have a confrontation, but I'm going to try to make these pretty short. So I'm going to stop it there. That's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to try to do these in 20, 30-minute blocks. So now I can think in advance a bit more about what happens when I come in the room, what kind of confrontation would this occur, and I'm going to read up a little bit more about the rules. And next time we will see what we can discover with Dr. Bourgeois without hopefully getting into a combat, but we shall see. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'm looking forward to more of these, and I hope you watch next time. Thanks, everyone.